On February 28, 2025, a highly anticipated meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office devolved into a heated confrontation, culminating in an abrupt end without the signing of a pivotal minerals agreement. The relationship between Presidents Trump and Zelensky has been fraught with challenges, tracing back to a 2019 phone call that led to Trump's first impeachment. In recent weeks, tensions escalated due to differing perspectives on the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian war and proposed peace negotiations with Russia. President Trump advocated for Ukraine to make concessions to Russia to expedite peace, a stance met with skepticism by Zelensky, who harbored deep mistrust toward Russian commitments without concrete U.S. security guarantees. Additionally, discussions surrounding a U.S.-Ukraine minerals agreement added complexity to their interactions. The meeting, initially intended to finalize the minerals agreement, quickly escalated into a contentious exchange. Vice President J.D. Vance stated, "The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy." President Zelensky, referencing past breaches by Russia, questioned this approach, asking, "What kind of diplomacy, J.D., you are speaking about?" Vice President Vance accused Zelensky of being ungrateful for U.S. support, asserting, "It's disrespectful for you to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media." He further criticized Ukraine's military strategies, claiming, "You guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems." President Trump accused Zelensky of risking a broader war, stating, "You're gambling with millions of lives, you are gambling with World War III. He further admonished, "We've backed you far more than a lot of people think we should have." The confrontation culminated with President Trump halting the meeting, declaring, "I think we've seen enough, this is going to be great television." Subsequently, President Zelensky was asked to leave the White House, and the anticipated minerals agreement remained unsigned. Despite their differences on other issues, access to Ukraine's vast mineral resources was a key factor driving President Trump's engagement with President Zelensky. Ukraine is rich in critical minerals essential for high-tech and industrial applications, including rare earth elements like lanthanum, cerium, neodymium, erbium, and yttrium, vital components in electronics, renewable energy technologies, and defense systems. In addition, Ukraine holds substantial reserves of lithium, titanium, graphite, and uranium, further elevating its strategic importance in the global supply chain. Aware of this potential, President Trump sought to secure access to these resources through negotiations with Zelensky, aiming to strengthen U.S. industries and reduce reliance on other suppliers. America's national security hinges on antimony, a rare metal used in advanced technology and products. China and Russia control nearly 100% of the world's supply. When China recently banned exports, prices spiked to $50,000 per ton. Meanwhile, the U.S. military has only 17 days' worth of reserves. Military Metals, listed as CSE Milli and OTCQB Milif, is working to solve this crisis. Their flagship deposit in Slovakia holds over 60,000 tons of high-grade antimony, worth more than $2.5 billion at current prices. This resource is based on a Soviet-era historical resource, which is currently being converted to a modern, compliant resource. In addition, Military Metals owns two past-producing antimony assets in North America, including the West Gore mine in Canada, which contains surface piles of ore from previous production. With the Pentagon and NATO racing to secure domestic antimony, Military Metals could be in line for significant government backing. Investors are just starting to wake up to this critical need, and the potential profits in solving one of America's biggest defense vulnerabilities. The fallout from the meeting elicited a spectrum of international responses. Leaders from the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and other European nations reaffirmed their solidarity with Ukraine. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer emphasized the need to support Ukraine amid the fractured relations with the U.S. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, commended Zelensky's conduct, stating, "Your dignity extols the bravery of the Ukrainian people. Be strong, be brave, be fearless. You are never alone, dear President Zelensky." Kaja Kallas, EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, criticized Trump's approach, asserting, Today it became clear that the free world needs a new leader. We Europeans must rise to this challenge. Emmanuel Macron, president of France, labeled Russia as the aggressor and Ukraine as the assaulted party, emphasizing that supporting Ukraine and sanctioning Russia were the correct actions. Keir Starmer, UK Prime Minister, reiterated unwavering support for Ukraine, stating, "You have full backing across the UK." Pedro Sanchez, Prime Minister of Spain, voiced support for Ukraine amid the White House dispute. Ulf Kristersson, Prime Minister of Sweden, conveyed solidarity, stating that Ukraine is not only fighting for its freedom, but also for all of Europe's. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau reaffirmed Canada's steadfast support for Ukraine. Trudeau emphasized Canada will continue to stand with Ukraine, underscoring the nation's commitment to Ukrainian sovereignty and resilience. The recent Oval Office confrontation between President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has elicited a spectrum of reactions from American political leaders, reflecting deep partisan divides. House Speaker Mike Johnson suggested that President Zelensky should either return to negotiations with a more appreciative demeanor or consider resignation, stating, "The days of America being taken advantage of and disrespected are over." Senator Lindsey Graham, known for his pro-Ukraine stance, criticized Zelensky's behavior during the meeting as disrespectful and suggested that Zelensky should either resign or change his approach to maintain relations with the U.S. Senator James Lankford disagreed with calls for Zelensky's resignation, arguing that such a move would spiral Ukraine into chaos and hinder peace negotiations with Russia. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer condemned the meeting, asserting that President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were doing Putin's dirty work. Senator Bernie Sanders dismissed Republican suggestions for Zelensky's resignation as a horrific idea, emphasizing Zelensky's role in defending democracy against Russian aggression. Senator Amy Klobuchar highlighted Zelensky's repeated expressions of gratitude toward the U.S. and criticized the administration's treatment of the Ukrainian president. Despite being long-standing allies of the United States and having recently met with President Trump, the UK and other European leaders appear to be taking a divergent path from his approach on Ukraine. In the wake of the heated Oval Office confrontation between Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer moved swiftly to convene an urgent summit in London. The rapid organization of this meeting signals a deliberate European effort to assert greater autonomy in shaping the response to the Ukraine crisis, rather than aligning with Trump's shifting stance on the conflict. By gathering key European leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, the summit aimed to craft a unified European response to the crisis, one that prioritizes continued military and financial support for Ukraine, in contrast to Trump's more skeptical approach. The decision to hold the meeting so quickly after the White House dispute underscores the growing divergence between the U.S. administration and its European partners on handling Russia's aggression and securing Ukraine's future. The summit produced several key outcomes, highlighting Europe's commitment to Ukraine's defense and regional security. One of the major developments was the UK's announcement of a £1.6 billion export finance agreement, which will enable Ukraine to procure over 5,000 air defense missiles. This measure is designed not only to strengthen Ukraine's defensive capabilities, but also to stimulate economic growth by creating jobs in manufacturing. Another significant outcome was the proposal by the UK and France to lead a coalition of the willing, aimed at providing security guarantees to Ukraine. This coalition may involve the deployment of troops to support a ceasefire, reinforcing a united European stance in peace negotiations and deterring further Russian aggression. Additionally, European leaders recognized the pressing need to increase defense spending to enhance the continent's security infrastructure. Ursula von der Leyen emphasized the importance of a more self-reliant and robust defense strategy. Together, these initiatives reflect Europe's proactive approach in addressing the ongoing conflict and ensuring long-term stability. The summit's developments indicate a potential recalibration of the traditional transatlantic alliance. Europe's proactive stance in formulating a peace plan and considering independent security measures reflects a shift towards greater self-reliance in defense matters. This move suggests a desire to reduce dependency on U.S. support and assert Europe's strategic autonomy. Recent tensions, exemplified by the contentious meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, have raised concerns about the reliability of U.S. commitment to European security. European leaders' efforts to mediate and independently support Ukraine highlight a divergence in transatlantic priorities. Initiatives like the proposed coalition of the willing and the expansion of the Weimar Triangle to include the UK and other European nations forming Weimar Plus signify Europe's intent to forge new alliances and collaborative frameworks that may operate parallel to or independently from traditional US-led structures. Over the past month, tensions between the European Union and the United States have escalated due to a series of actions and statements from President Donald Trump's administration. These developments have strained the transatlantic alliance, prompting European leaders to reassess their diplomatic and security strategies. In early February 2025, President Trump announced intentions to impose substantial tariffs on European imports, citing trade imbalances and perceived unfair practices. Ursula von der Leyen stated that these actions will not go unanswered. They will trigger firm and proportionate countermeasures. Donald Tusk criticized the move, calling it a totally unnecessary and stupid tariff war or trade war, further straining relations. The U.S. administration excluded European representatives from peace talks aimed at resolving the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. A U.S. envoy confirmed that Europe would not participate in these discussions, a move that surprised and concerned European diplomats. This exclusion underscored a growing rift in diplomatic relations and raised questions about the future of collaborative efforts in addressing global conflicts. In January 2025, President Trump expressed interest in purchasing Greenland, an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. This proposal was met with overwhelming opposition from Greenland's residents, with 85% opposing the idea. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen dismissed the proposal as absurd, leading to heightened diplomatic tensions between the U.S. and Denmark. At the Munich Security Conference in mid-February, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance delivered a speech criticizing Europe's democratic policies and urging engagement with populist movements. These comments caught European leaders off guard and were perceived as an affront to the EU's political values. Robin Quinville noted that they were not used to hearing a discussion of our shared values and of difficulties we see in that. Let's take a quick pause. If you've enjoyed the video so far, could we ask a small favor? Hitting the like button helps us reach a broader audience, and sharing your thoughts or feedback in the comments makes an even bigger impact. Thank you for watching.